And now we're here for part 2 of the E3 debrief. But I'm going to take a little segue off and tell you about something cool I did today. That I reached out to one of the, I was reading through some news articles going on here locally in St. Louis, and I reached out to this company called Lion Forge Entertainment, which does comic book creation, publishing, and all that stuff right here in St. Louis. And they were doing a news piece about they're moving over into animation. So they bought into an animation company. They're starting to upfit, and upscale to do that. And I was like, hey, you know what? My daughter really likes to do that stuff. Let me just shoot them an email. Went on their website, shot them an email, said, hey, I'd love to take my daughter down there and check this out. And they invited me down, and my daughter gave us like a tour of their facilities, how they do, talked to several of the artists there. Actually got a signed copy. We were catered around, taken around the area by one of the artists and creators or writers there on site, and got to go kind of check out a pretty cool deal. So they do quite a few titles. I won't plug them entirely, but I just want to give them a shout out to Lion Forge for inviting me in, letting my daughter come around there and look and see, how that creation worked. That was pretty cool. So, kid, does that make you a little jelly?
Yeah, I'm not happy I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I want to check it out now.
Well, it was pretty cool because, like, talking to the one writer and artist, I'll shoot over all that information. I'm going to do a plug on that. But I talked to him. We kind of got into a conversation about the creative flow and, like, what do you do and how do you get into that? He was trying to give my daughter some guidance, which he works with some of the local schools and teaches them how to get into comics and how important it can be to express yourself in some type of artistic way. And he has a few mentees, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And we started getting a conversation about creativity. And I said, no, I don't draw. I'm not an artist. I can get by that way, but no, not my passion. But started talking to him about the podcast, and he's like, hey, I'll jump on there with you. And I said, well,
oh, that's awesome.
I said, man, I'll definitely invite you. Let us get our feet under us and grow up a little bit, make it worth your while. And he said, no, man, I'm not that way. I'll come on there tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care about that. I just like to talk, and I like to talk about my passion. So that was kind of a cool little segue. So stay tuned. Might get some direct artist feedback from those folks out there on the ground creating some of the stuff we know and love. And they do quite a few things. So pretty neat little adventure I had today. So I'll get off of that segue. Thought that was cool. I like to share some of those fun things that, I run into personally, especially when it ties back into the world of gaming and comics and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty awesome to me. So, well, without further ado, we'll jump right back into some of the E3 breakout titles and things to look forward to, and might have a little segue over into the technology. So I've been kind of hinting around to it towards Kid, but as we get to that, we'll get some honest reactions, as he's absolutely always been kind of my guiding post around gaming, and I'll kind of talk with him and see what that looks like towards the end. I think everybody should be very excited because it's more of a rethinking the way we do all gaming. So stay tuned towards the end. We'll get into that a little bit more. But we wrapped up with Elden Ring on the last show, talking about the amazing things that are coming that way. And we're going to jump over into some lighter side, if you will. And we've got number 11 in our list of some of the biggest things to watch out for. We've got, what is this? The Outer Worlds, makers of
Outer
Fallout.
Worlds.
So this one looks like it's coming out this year, October 25th, not like most of the other ones. So, Kid, what's your thoughts about the Fallout remake, if you will?
Oh, man. So, here's where everybody's going to gasp. And I love the Fallout. I love the storyline. I cannot get over the controls and the wonkiness of that game.
Yeah.
So, but looking at this game, though, I'm intrigued by it. I like what they're doing. I like the weapons. I like you can shrink people. I like you can freeze them in the air. It's looking real good. I'll definitely give it a shot. But Fallout for me is kind of so I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the graphics look pretty sharp. I anticipate they can do a good job. It's not that it's a bad engine or anything. It's just I understand what Kid's talking about. It's like when you're having to learn a new way to do something and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And there are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of games that I just discredit entirely because I don't like how it feels. Forget everything else. So I
Yeah.
would say it kind of almost looks like a um man, I don't know, kind of I'll say like a Borderlandsy type feel to it, but you know, in the
It's
structure and how the layout works, but the graphics are completely different, if that makes sense.
yeah. It's definitely a Fallout type game.
Mm-hmm. No, it's I'm interested to see it. It'll be worth giving it a shot. Hopefully they'll put out a demo or something like that or an alpha and I'll get in there and play it, see if I really like it.
Absolutely.
So we're going back to the Nintendo. Um, it looks like they're going to remake the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening will release on September 20th. So another reason, you know, as we talked about the previous episode with the sequel to Breath of the Wild due to come out at some unknown time, we've also got a remake of Link's Awakening. So another reason maybe to be thinking about Switch. Kid, I think we better be saving up money with all these new consoles out there.
Yeah. That ain't no joke.
Yep, because you've got Xbox, PlayStation, Switch 2 coming out. And if they keep coming with their A game like this, it might be that time to start looking to invest again.
It definitely has the first Zelda feel to it, like from Nintendo. Like I could get down on this one. I really like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think,
Just
you know, go ahead.
Go ahead. The box didn't feel. It's like they took the original and said, let's give it some modern graphics, and I like it. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And that's one, you know, my wife is not a gamer at all. She likes Lego and she likes Zelda. I think when I show her this title, she'll be like, hey, can I have a Switch? I just, that might be able to take some of that budget off and say, well, here you go, honey. Here's your Switch you wanted so bad.
Yeah,
And
it
then
looks
accidentally
good.
lose it.
Yeah, I definitely don't have to pick that one up.
Yep. I think so. I think there's a few compelling reasons to look at these new consoles, which is great. I love that they're really focusing on the gameplay, not just the technology of the console, but putting out some good quality games to make you excited about that. So nice job, Nintendo. Loving to see that. And they've also got another favorite among a lot of players coming out, which is going to be the next Animal Crossing called New Horizon. So, Kid, have you played Animal Crossing?
I have not played any Animal Crossings.
Mm-hmm. That was one, you know, I've like watched through the gameplay. I didn't either because, like I've mentioned, I haven't gone into getting the Switch, but there's a lot of compelling reasons to pick it up that I see quite a few people who do play Nintendo regularly are pretty darn excited about Animal Crossing coming out. And it's interesting. Might be something to pick up if I'm already picking the new Switch up for the new Zelda remakes and new game being released. So looks like a little bit of fun if you like that kind of almost like a Sims 4 type feel to it, but you know, more simplistic graphics.
It kind of looks like that game that was on Facebook when it first came out, where you plant the stuff.
Yep.
Or what was it? Well, yeah, I can't even remember what it's called now.
Farmville.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah.
Kind of got that like a modern day Farmville to me.
Mm-hmm. With animations and whatnot. So might be fun to play. It looks like it could definitely be a couch play for sure. And people who like the little lighter side of gaming, I think it could be pretty fun. So now we've got we're going to move over to outside of the Nintendo. Who knows if they'll come out later, but we've got this game called Ghostwire Tokyo. So looking over this, Kid, what were your first thoughts in looking over this, hearing anything about it? It is
so. Mm-hmm. I remember hearing something about the original creator of Resident Evil is part of this, I believe, if that's right. And that right there in itself, like I don't even have to see video. Just be like, this game's coming out, creator Resident Evil, boom, done. But it looks very good. All kinds of crazy stuff going on. it's people disappearing. Like, I don't even know. I'm confused, but I'm intrigued at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely a teaser trailer that they put out there with, the graphics just look so surreal that they're,
Mm-hmm.
you're almost feel like you're watching a movie at this point. I'm sure it's going to be a 4K optimized game, just the level of graphics in there. So very interested in seeing what this is. I don't know anything about it, but it is an action game. I think people will be excited to check this one out. Definitely one to keep your eyes out for that coming soon. So pay
And the
attention.
graphics are just unreal.
Yeah, they are something else, man. I don't know. Like, I'm watching it on a 2K monitor right now and got it zoomed in, which of course it's a trailer, so it's not going to be optimized for that. But man, I can just imagine this played on a 4K. It's going to be unbelievable. I think it could be really one of these games optimized for these new consoles coming out that really are optimized for 4K, or the high end PC gamer. It looks like, think back to what 09 talked about on our episode where we were talking to him through some of the technologies and how he had that moment playing Star Citizen that he just had to stop and look at the amazing graphics and design of the game.
That will definitely be this one, no doubt.
Yep, that's exactly the way I feel when I look at this. There could be some great gameplay included, but it does look like one of those truly beautiful games. Very interested in seeing this guy come out. So we've got another AAA title, or from a AAA maker, if you will. The creators of Assassin's Creed Odyssey are coming out with a game called Gods and Monsters. So what's your thoughts about this guy?
You can't go wrong with Assassin's Creed, man. They've stuck with the same type of gameplay, so you can just jump in that and kind of know what you're doing. It's going to be good. It's going to be one of those, not my top titles, but I'll be definitely picking it up on Black Friday kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would agree with that as well. It's Assassin's Creed always has great gameplay, great visuals, visual effects. I think it'll be pretty cool. So getting into a little bit more undiscovered territory for me. Never heard this, and it makes sense because 2015 was the original, and I don't know that I was playing a lot of games at that time. I had moved down to St. Louis from New York a couple years prior to that, settling in and all that stuff, and I know that I didn't really buy into or build a whole lot of gaming, but there's this new game is a sequel to the game Ori and the Blind Forest, and this one's called Ori and the Will of the Wisp. So, Kid, did you look over this? What are your thoughts? Did you play any of this originally?
I haven't originally played none of it, but I don't guess 3D TVs are a thing anymore. But this game looks like it would be perfect for 3D TV.
Mm-hmm.
The side scrolling, it really looks good. Like, this is one that I don't think it's going to be a $60 game, probably be $30, and I would probably pick it up for that. This game looks very well made and put together, quite beautiful looking with the colors. Everything blends right. Mm-hmm. It's just a side-scroller adventure game, and it looks great.
Yep, I think so. Well, maybe it'll turn out to be a virtual reality type title as that catches up. Again, we talked a little bit about virtual reality, but it's really coming into its own. There's a lot of technologies with the wireless virtual reality coming out that could really ramp up VR. So I agree that could be a pretty awesome game in that way to substitute the 3D TVs, maybe go virtual reality. So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now this next one, I'm gonna let Kid kind of take this. It's a little bit, they're kind of mashing it with another of the big titles, but I know Kid has played a little bit of Banjo at some point.
Banjo-Kazooie, raring to go. So I have played it, but not a whole lot. I know it's had a lot of hype, but the fact that it's coming to Smash Brothers Ultimate, that's going to be a big thing. It's a huge thing, whether you're at Comic-Cons or just going to party at somebody's house. everybody's breaking the Smash Brothers out. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it and where they go. I think it'll be a big title, and I think it'll be one that will be talked about quite a bit.
Yeah, I think so, because, in I'll say the intro gaming scene, there's a lot of tournament play around Super Smash Brothers. There's a ton around Tekken and a ton around Super Smash Brothers, but I think in the events that I've been to locally and regionally, there's always a Smash Bros tournament going. It's something people can get really into very quickly. It's kind of like the Street Fighter feel, but advanced from that, I would say, in a lot of ways. But people can drop in and do that. It's a little cartoony, which makes it even more fun for a lot of players. So excited to see this one come out. I think there's going to be a lot of hype, as Kid said, just around getting a lot of people together. I know when we do local events circling around our charities or some of our Twitch partners around here, we always focus on a Super Smash Bros tournament. You go to the Comic-Cons, like you say, they'll have a Super Smash Bros and a Tekken tournament going on in the back. So I think it's not overdue, but well due. Give it another little flavor, another character or group to play with. So
yeah,
pretty cool. I think it'll be pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Okay, and moving on to a little bit different type of game, but if not one of the oldest titles we've talked about today, definitely right up there with the most legacy titles, and that is Doom Eternal, sequel to the 2016 Doom reboot. Looking at coming out November 22nd, so right around the holidays. Going to be a big game. So, Kid, what do you think about the initial playthrough?
Oh, man, it's so awesome. Like, Doom has been, like, I got a change jar that's a little fireball guy or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I love Doom. I just love the running gun. The double-barrel shotguns are always great. It's kind of what involved me in games growing up, jumping into other ones. Anytime I see a shotgun, I'm grabbing it. I know it's going to be good.
Yep.
And that's kind of what's the wayside on a lot of games lately because, I'll grab it and the shotgun won't do anything. So I don't know what in the world they have in there. But Doom, they hold true to that. And just all the guns and gore and, this game's great. I can't wait.
It is, and it looks pretty sharp, too. I mean, the graphics, again, as we're continue to accelerate and get better and better products out there, it looks like a game that's going to be fun to play as well as graphically pleasing, if you will. So a lot of fun looks to be had in this game. Definitely one that you can sit down. In my history, like Doom, I can sit down and grind out 10 minutes or 10 hours and or to the point that I get so frustrated I got to walk away or whatnot. But it looks really sharp. Excited to see that. A little bit of PlayStation goodness coming. So definitely pretty awesome.
They got a few collector's editions, look like some statues and a helmet, so that'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Think it'll be fun. So, from the creators of Dishonored, we've got a new title coming out called Deathloop. So, looking over the initial gameplay, I don't know if you were a big Dishonored player, but
I was.
So what do you think about Deathloop, a new title coming out?
Man, I've loved the Dishonors. I like how they did all the sneakiness of it. This game, they're like shooting each other, dying and coming back. So I'm not real sure what direction they're going here, but just for the fact that it's people did Dishonored, I'm definitely going to give them a hard look, see where they go with it, and can't wait to try a demo of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's another one, just graphically pleasing to watch. It looks awesome. Excited to see that. Excited to see a lot of these games coming out. But of our last half of our part 2 of the E3 quick debrief, which of these titles are you most excited to see?
Doom for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else was it? Outer Worlds have kind of got me intrigued a little bit, but I'm not holding my breath on it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I'm just going to have to go with Doom. You can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Doom is my number one.
Ghostwire.
Yep, that was my number 2 is that Ghostwire. Seeing what that turns out to be, I think will be pretty awesome. So pretty excited about that. And I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about what I had alluded to in part 1 and at the beginning of part 2. And this is the technology upshift I think we're going to see. I think it's going to bring gaming accessible to anyone. I think there are quite a few, so it's going to be hard to go over all of the stuff, but I'll sum it up and say cloud gaming. Okay. We've got a lot of players. There were some announced prior to E3. Some leaned on it pretty hard. Microsoft brought out some products. You've got Google that's come out with a new gaming platform they announced prior to E3. I'm on a trial with NVIDIA's product, and I've used another product, a couple different products out there to get this cloud gaming going on. And there's a few different approaches, but ultimately you're going to have gaming at the level of a PC game rig where you're hooked to a cloud. And I think where it really comes into play is when you have internet connections that can keep it stable. However, there are a few out there that are promising they're going to give you optimal gaming in a rural area with lower bandwidth internet. So I think when you look at that, there's a lot to discover here. You're basically attaching yourself to a remote computer somewhere. You pay a monthly fee, you attach, and you play on this remote server. And realistically, all your processing power is housed somewhere in a data center or whatnot, whether it be a PC, which the Shadow Tech that I tried, and the NVIDIA product is really a Steam login that you log into Steam. If you own the game, you can download it and play it directly from there. And it's kind of like a replacement for some of these consoles out there. It's going to give you some in a console feel, some are direct PC play. But at the end of the day, all that processing power is offloaded somewhere else. It's just having to cast video to you. So you're not having to transfer nearly as much information, right? You're just sending the video, which is like streaming a Netflix show or something like that. But I think for the accessibility, and you think about the everyman gamer that's out there, most people can afford $10, $15, $20, $25 a month. Most people can't afford dropping money on a new console or a computer. So, and I'm not saying just everybody, the diehard gamers and whatnot, they're always going to find ways to facilitate their gaming, right? But with this cloud computing platform, I mean, kid, think about it in the days where you was broke, and if you could pay $25 a month and you're in a heavy gaming month, go ahead and buy it, right? A lot of the ones I have are no contracts, no commitments. You just pay as you want. And think about that in a model, as much gaming as you do. What are your thoughts about that?
So all that's going through my head right now is looking at this picture and hearing you talk about that. And I think people nowadays, especially the younger generation, don't know how good it is, because like right now we have demos, endless demos at our fingertips at a quick download, where back in the day you had to buy a magazine for a CD that had 5 demos on it. And when you were broke back then, that was all the 5 games that you had was demos. So there was no full games that you'd get. And then that evolved into demos and systems. Now we're at where games are free. Fortnite, you get to play. If you want to spend this money for these skins and stuff, cool. We're still going to make billions. So it's crazy to me to see how the games have evolved to the point where they're at right now, to where consoles to go in console-less, and then just the transition of games and where they're making it now. Like, is the end game going to be microtransactions or what?
Well, and I think, too, you look at we're already in a world where you're downloading your movies, you're streaming your movies, you're downloading your games, you're streaming your games. I think we know brick and mortar purchasing places are struggling because there's all this connectivity with information-based things like games, movies, so on and so forth. I think it'll be a little weird. I had a coworker approach me, I don't know, probably a couple months ago and said, well, it looks like my son is trying to get into computer gaming. He really wants to be competitive. This is what he wants to do. How much am I going to be looking at? Can we get it for around $1,000? And, I had to be at the point and I said, well, you can invest and get the machine. However, if you want to see if this is a trial, there's all these cloud computing solutions, not a ton, but there's more coming out. And from the temperature around E3, this was kind of the bigger news for me. All the games are great. All that stuff is awesome. But I'm really faced with a world where I might be able to do all that stuff at a very low cost, right? I mean, when you're talking on the high end, you're going to talk maybe $300 a year to be able to play just about any AAA title at competitive speeds and rates. And you have the benefit of the internet connectivity, right? Because when you're playing on these cloud things, they're in a data center, which are on fiber, and the downloads, the transfer, the communication between that and the other game server. So you think about you're sitting in New York and you're playing with a guy in Florida. Well, you guys are taking a short hop from your home to the data center. Then the data centers are communicating all the actual hard work, and they're doing it at an amazing speed that's not available everywhere, right? So this is going to really, I think, change the game as they start to optimize these things. And it looks like people are going whole hog when you've got Google getting into the space, NVIDIA's in the space, Xbox getting into the space. Everybody's diving into this. So, I looked at the Google game system, and it's literally a Wi-Fi connected controller that controls a remote computer off in, your local data center, and it then projects that play back to your TV. How cool is that? That your literal console is going to be a controller if you decide to opt for it, or you play on a PC. So,
and another good benefit to this that, I'm thinking, because I've dealt with it in the past, and this kind of goes towards movies too as well. When it's going to happen to people. I know it's happened to me. First thing I got broke into, they stole all my movies and they stole my console. So with everything going to cloud, a little bit more safe, a little bit more secure. You just have to buy another controller. So I definitely welcome this.
Oh yeah, I think so too. And just looking at like the PC gaming part of it, aside from the console piece, but being able to not just invest that money in there, but then you're also going to be on a secure data server. So if you get breached security wise, you're not going to lose everything you have. You've got a data center that can afford the highest end encryptions and whatnot from the massive amount, basically cost sharing or, crowdfunding really good equipment that you're going to be playing on a top tier computer or top tier piece of equipment that's very well protected. And I think it really increases the security all the way around too. So, I mean, there's so many good things for this. And, if you heard the buzzwords around cloud computing, that's really the power of it. And it looks like the gaming industry is taking a sharp turn when you've got all the top players that manufactured the consoles to the internet connectivity to all this stuff buying into this. It's got legs. Pay attention. Don't ignore it. It's in its early stages. And, there's one even called Paperspace out there, kid that one of my buddies here plays 09. In fact, tried it out. He had some mixed reviews, but you can basically pull up a browser window and dial into your PC without any additional software.
That's wild.
That's crazy. And be able to get like 60 frame per second play. And that's on a very, that's on a very amateur scale. If you think
this is definitely one thing that's going to drive me to get an Xbox. And it's one thing they've done lately that kind of ticks me off about PlayStation is you can download it on PC or you can play it on your Xbox. And the thing that made me salty towards PlayStation is I had all these games on my PS3 that I bought, downloaded, it's on their cloud, and I got my PS4. Guess what didn't transition over because it wasn't a PS4 title. So now I've got to rebuy all my Resident Evils, and it's like WTF.
Hmm. Yeah, I think this goes back to like when back in the day when I first moved to New York, I was like I moved up there by myself before my family moves up. I bought a MacBook and I was like, well, that'll give me entertainment because I'm literally living in an apartment for a few months until my wife finished up school. And I go up there and I had my MacBook and the hard drive crashed and I about had a meltdown because I had bought movie after movie after movie before the cloud was really a thing, and I stored it on the hard drive, and I went round and around with Apple. I'm like, look, I bought these. My hard drive crashed that I bought from you. I need to get my titles back. And it was an act of Congress, but I finally did. And
Man,
then you're talking a couple of years later. Well, I don't download anything. I mean, I purchased stuff from iTunes for movies, music, and whatnot, and I just hit play, right? So
right.
I think this is that kind of evolution coming to the gaming world near you. I think they're optimizing things, and that you've got all these big players. You know, you had stuff that was workable with these people like Shadow Tech, not to knock them or anything, but they're definitely not a Google as far as what power they're bringing to the table. You've got everybody buying into this at the top tier of the tech industry that have the funds to develop it. It's going to be something to pay attention to. So for me,
Absolutely.
that was not the biggest news of E3, but definitely the biggest evolution of the entire
Oh yeah.
ecosystem around gaming. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be very welcomed in my book.
Yep, I think so too. No more upfront costs that are out of this world that you got to save up and save up and save up for. So pretty cool stuff.
I wonder
Hmm.
I wonder how much electricity your PC pulls or your Xbox pulls, your PlayStation pulls, and then your heat, and then it just all adds up. So
Yeah.
that $25 a month ain't nothing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I looked at running my gaming rig if I were to do coin mining or whatnot, and it was somewhere ridiculous, like $1,200-$1,400 a month in power consumption to be able to mine it full time. So
Holy crap!
it really does knock it down. I mean, it makes it so much more affordable. You're offloading so many costs. The convenience is going to be up there. And my expectation, if you think about 4K streaming and what kind of bandwidth it takes, and that's the top end of what we have right now. I know 8K is on the horizon, so on and so forth. But that is all communicated through a pretty small bandwidth compared to what is needed today for gaming. So super excited. Pay attention, watch out for all the cloud gaming. They may call it different things, but essentially there's a lot of players in that space right now. I really enjoyed using the NVIDIA trial, just got a free trial for that, the Shadow Tech, and I know those are the early releases. NVIDIA, I don't even think has the full product line out there yet. I may be wrong. But all that stuff is rolling. Pretty cool stuff. So you're not having to have so much invested in the front end. Pretty awesome. And that about wraps us up for our first debrief of E3. I'm sure there's going to be a ton more news coming out around games and around the systems that are going to play these games in the very, very near future. So, Kid, what do you think about this year's E3 overall?
Okay, so I know we've made episodes about it, but I got to give my boys credit. Borderlands 3, please hurry up and get here. I cannot wait. I watched gameplay. The game looks great. The game looks smooth. They did some really good stuff with it. Oh my God, hurry up, get here now.
Yep, I agree with you. And that was a little freebie that was thrown out there. They announced with the additional DLC for Borderlands 2 that is put out there to bridge the story between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. I had to go in and rush and start building up a character because you really need to be level 30 to play through it. So I'm working on that right now, rebuilding a character because Lord knows how long ago and how many computers ago that was that I was playing Borderlands religiously and had a bunch of characters. So I'm out there rebuilding that. There is that is an announcement that dropped, and we don't want to miss that. Definitely go out there and check out the new DLC. I hopefully will be there this week, and I'll be able to check that out myself. Shouldn't take too long. So Borderlands,
so
Borderlands.
for sure,
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands, Final Fantasy VII, Cyberpunk, and was it Elden Ring?
Yep, Elden Ring. Mm-hmm.
Elden Ring. So that's like my 4 anticipated games right there.
Yep.
100%.
Yep, I would agree with all that stuff. I'm gonna add in some of the new Nintendo stuff as well. Excited to see that. Looks like going to be a good year to buy into technology, and we've got some more stuff coming through 2020. A lot of these things on the horizon. You know, you got as we've mentioned in other casts, we've got the technology there to make them really amazing. So super exciting E3 for us over here at Kid and Drag. Now remember, follow us on all of our socials, if you will. If you just search for Kid and Drag on Google, you can find us in 20 different places. However, our website at kidndrag.chat. That's KIDNDRAG.CHAT. Go hit that up, give us a follow, send us a message, go listen to our cast there. If there's something you'd love to hear, we've got contact information on all of our socials. We're watching it, we're paying attention, we're giving you guys the stuff that you want to hear about. That's what we're here to do. So don't be shy, because we won't.
Yeah. Hey, one thing I want, tell us what your favorite E3 coverage is, what games you're looking for, and we'll give you a shout out on our next show. So
yeah,
drop us your tag, whatever you want us to call you, and what games you're looking forward to. I'm definitely curious to see, because there's such a big plethora of games out there coming out. Mm-hmm. Tell us, hey, you missed this. What were you thinking? Mm-hmm. So let us know.
Yep, and if you're super opinionated and not shy, feel free to drop us a message, because we will put you on the cast with an interview. We are not shy. If you haven't heard our cast, you'll see we're not looking for Ninja. We're looking for you. So come give us a shout. We'll drop you straight on here, get you in on our chat, let us hear your opinion, and we'll argue it out with you, or we'll agree with you, but we'll have some fun.
That's right.
All right. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the quick snippets over E3. And until next time, this is Kid and Drag.
We'll see you later.
Later.